Welcome back in, everybody, to One Piece Chapter 1088. We have the lovely Parvision here with us today, and we're here to talk about One Piece, believe it or not. So, speaking of peas in a pod, we got the East Blue Boys on the color spread. And let me tell you, I hate the fact that Don Krieg is in here. The more I look at this, the more I'm just like, why? Like, it's so easy. Like, actually, just remove Axe Hand Morgan and just put Don Krieg there. Or remove Garp. And you know what's funny? My copium is at next chapter. We're going to get a full Don Krieg color spread. So,
I don't know these
it's
names.
going to be Don Krieg and his 4 commanders. I think that's what it's going to be. Oda's just, he's pulling his punches here.
What if Don Krieg, like, we find... Okay.
He doesn't want to go all out just yet. He has to save the juicy stuff for the second part.
Like, you know, when you think about it, Arlong's not going to be relevant now. It'd be crazy if we find out Arlong comes back to relevancy, right?
He has to. I feel like he has to. He's like Jinbei's brother. Like, by the end of the series, it could be a complete meme or a shonen thing, but by the end of the series, I kind of do want Arlong to come back and have one, like, combination attack with Jinbei. Arlong would add, like, 1% power to it, but it's the feels, right? I think it'd be nice. Or maybe, like, he looks at Luffy and he's like, you know what? I hate humans, but yeah, Luffy's okay. I think that'd be kind of nice.
2 things. I forget. I always bring this up and I always frame it as, I feel like this was made up by the community. But what the community at least said
Blue
at
hockey?
some point...
Blue hockey's real, let me tell you. I like that one.
Sure. Was that post time skip Usopp was as strong as Arlong pre
They
time
made that
skip?
up.
Yeah, that was made up.
That's
okay.
made up.
So second thing that I was gonna say is, like, when you look at this cover spread, right? Like, Shanks is relevant, Kobe's relevant, Buggy's relevant, Garp is relevant, Mihawk is relevant, and it's like, so then it's like, does that mean Kuro, Axe Hand, and Arlong are gonna be relevant?
Hey. All I gotta say is that Cross Guild is a really nice home, and Captain Kuro, he's the man of 1,000 plans. So if you're telling me that he did not plan for all of this to happen, I mean, what am I supposed to say, right?
He's scoffing at Shiki. Shiki took 20 years to make a plan. It's like, yes, but did you make 1,000 plans? No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
I like to imagine the reason why Captain Kuro had to take a whole night, after seeing Luffy to execute his plan, is because he just had to slightly readjust it. He's like, oh, this is the Yonko kid.
The 1001.
This is Sun God Nika showing up to Seer Village. He probably saw the entire future right there. Captain Kuro, man, don't sleep on him. Don't sleep on him.
So the thing that I was gonna bring up though was, like, how crazy, because, like, amongst all of these, the people who left out, Arlong, Axe Hand, Kuro, and Krieg was the one that actually, amongst them, was given, like, the plot line that, like, he
come
would return.
back.
Yeah, and he's not here, and I'm almost like, is Oda actually playing games? Because it's crazy to leave out Don Krieg, the first guy we met, like, at the to go to. I mean,
the first
Shanks,
cyborg of the series, which I want to throw that in there. He's the first cyborg in the entire series.
The Diamond Fist, crazy.
No, not Diamond Fist. Did you see his concept art? So
No,
in Don
I don't
Krieg's
remember
concept art, he wasn't even supposed to be 100% human. He was actually called Don Krieg 9000, and he was going to be like this Frankie-esque robot warship monster-looking thing.
Okay, see, that's where I was wondering, like, now I want to look at his concept art, because I've been really, a lot of my
it's so good.
Recent ideas have been tied to pre-time skip, but the first 100 chapters, and also the concept arts, because Oda has declared so many things in those moments that have happened or are going to happen, or he, like Zoro's eye thing just is the easiest one to pull from, but so many other things. But the Don Krieg thing, I'm like, Don Krieg, like, that name, his role, like, with Mihawk, the way you showed up,
the Will of
like,
D.
I'm just like, is it a possibility that Don Krieg is like a royal? Like, maybe he shows up later on as, like, he's just sitting on some island, like, he like, not sitting on, but, like, maybe he's not affiliated with the world government, but he's like a royal, you know what I mean? Like, and then we end up not collabing, that's a crazy word, like, we end up
crossing Luffy and Don Krieg hand in hand. Luffy's like, Don Krieg, please. Like, we get the Whitebeard panel, but it's just Luffy to Don Krieg.
We end up crossing paths with him, but But the other thing, now that you said the cyborg thing, and he had the 9,000, when you look at the canon Don Krieg, he was kind of like Queen Caesar. Like he feels like he belongs on Mads, right?
He kind of does.
Like, who on his crew made all that shit? Wouldn't it be him? Like
5.
Yeah, like he had
so cool,
poison gas that was supposed to kill you within like minutes. That sounds familiar. He had like so many weapons that were just yes, the cyborg concept art wasn't there, but like everything else was kind of there. And I'm like, maybe
he had so much in his arsenal. I know we just fought the cat guy, but let me tell you, Don Krieg was pulling cats out of his bag. Like, that was kind of nuts.
What if we find out like Don Krieg and Vegapunk were related somehow? That'd be crazy.
Hey, they both...
The original Thunder
had white hair. No, never mind. Vegapunk had black hair when he was younger. I was about to say, maybe they're related by hair. Who knows? But, not to mention, Don Krieg had 5,000 men at his disposal. I mean, granted, he lost, like, a majority of them.
Wait, was it 5,000 men or 5,000 ships?
He had 50 ships.
5,000 ships is crazy.
Yeah, 5,000 ships is kind of... I had to, like, think about it. Like, no. He had 50 ships, each with 100 men.
Yeah, wait, 50 ships is kind of crazy, though, because his ship was
East
big.
Blue.
Yeah, and
who was he raiding?
How many ships did the Marines send to Egghead?
The Marines sent 100 ships.
So, Don
Krieg could technically take on this fleet.
He had half the fleet.
Monster.
That, like...
He could initiate a buster call. Actually, what's stopping him from initiating a buster call?
10 of them.
That's what I'm saying, man. Don't sleep on Krieg.
No, and here's one last thing that I think a lot of people forget. And I don't remember whose ship it was, but Don Krieg lifted a ship out of the water and threw it.
Don Krieg lifted the mini Baratier and just threw it. Like, no big deal. And here's another thing, too. I was going through Don Krieg's Vivre card. His favorite food to eat on a daily basis is roasted Sea King. Yeah, so this man is casually killing Shirahoshi's best friends. Like, that is nuts to me. Like, this guy's a menace, man.
And like, he was an admiral. I joke about him
all the time, but I actually do hope that he comes back. I don't think he's going to be big, but I hope he comes back for, like, a small nod. Like, Captain Kuro, Arlong, like, Axe and Morgan, like, they're not going to be huge, right? Like, I understand the copium, but I hope that they get one panel in the future, like Final Saga, the Final War, and they're just, like, they just tip their fedora and that's it. That's all I need. All I need.
He's known as Foul Play Krieg or something like that.
Yeah, Foul Play Krieg. The Pirate Fleet Admiral.
Yeah, an admiral. Maybe they're... Hey, because the other times, was it with the Hoppo Army? They had, like... Was it Hoppo Army? Like, they had, like... or various people had, like, titles that relate to, like, seafaring.
Commodore Orlumbus.
Yeah, and then you realize, like, wait, that's meaningful because they have these titles.
Wait. Sorry to cut you off here. Speaking of the Pirate Fleet Admiral, he's also voiced by the same guy who voices Akainu, the actual Fleet Admiral. We got Fleet Admiral on Fleet Admiral action going on here. And the worst part of it all is that before I even knew that, Don Krieg and Akainu are like my two favorite characters in the series. So it's like a match made in heaven. Like, Don Krieg is in my top 10 favorite characters. And that's not even a joke. I actually really do like Krieg because he's such a menace. Like, Sanji fed this man food, and this dude hit him with the clothesline attack. I'm like, bro, why? Why? And then he looked at Gin. He said, MH5, Gin, don't put on your mask. Just everything about Krieg to me as a kid, like, screamed coolness. Krieg was who I aspired to be as, like, a toddler.
He had like hourglasses on his pirate flag to denote that it was the end of the time for anybody who saw it. If you saw that it was the end of it's like one of the coolest, hardest things. Oh,
you're bringing up Don Krieg's logo, huh?
Yeah, Don Krieg's logo is actually
an hourglass.
It's Henry Avery. Like, Oda actually gave him the most, like, this is actually the most cracked Jolly Roger.
If you see, Don Krieg said it himself, or I think Gin said it. They said, if you see that flag, there's an hourglass because that means your time is up. Bro, just everything about Don Krieg was so cold. Like, out of all of the East Blue villains, Don Krieg was just, I don't know, man. He did something. You
Yeah, I'm not
can't look at Don Krieg and say he's not a cool guy.
I'm not gonna lie. I
Man.
of the East Blue people, I mean Buggy aside, right? Because he doesn't count here.
Yeah.
But like genuinely, Don Krieg would have been a cool person to bring back, especially if Jin was tied to him. Like Kuro himself, cool, whatever. Get Morgan's out of here.
Yeah, Morgan's is the
Arlong,
one I don't really
fine.
care about.
Arlong is like second, but that's just because, like, you know, not to be racist, but it's because he's a fisherman. It'd be kind of sick. Like,
Oh god, fish make me sick to my stomach. I've been playing Dave the Diver in fishing games, and every time I catch a fish, I just think of Arlong. I'm like, any minute now, these guys need to be taken down.
oh my god, not Arlong. It's like, hey,
If you were a fishman, what kind of fish would you want to be mixed with? Because I actually think Arlong is pretty cool. Like, in terms of, like, half fish, half, like, sawtooth shark.
Yeah, I mean, shark is easy, right? Like,
Yeah, shark is
anything
easy.
Shark.
Anything
Anything
shark.
shark. Yeah, I mean, not anything shark. I don't want to be a nurse.
Ooh, I don't want to be a
Those are,
nautilus, but I don't think that can be a thing, because it's not technically a fish.
Like, a nautilus is like from League of Legends.
No, like a nautilus.
my
Nautilus is
gosh.
like an actual cephalopod, right?
It's a mollusk.
Or mollusk, sorry.
Interesting.
But yeah, I love those guys. I think they're super cool.
That I've never heard anybody say anything positive about these things, or negative for that matter. So
I have unique tastes, right? Like Don Krieg, Akainu, Nautilus. Like, what's next? You guys, please, if you want to know more opinions and crazy weird takes from me, please subscribe down below. So let's get into this chapter. It's been about almost 20 minutes of Don Krieg talk, and I know you guys could probably listen to endless hours of Don Krieg hype, but we are here to talk about this chapter.
yes.
And we start off at Garp's classroom. You know, Garp is giving us a hypothetical situation, saying, hey, old man, baby, island full of monsters, one boat, 2 people, and you're included as one of the people. Who would you save?
Yeah.
Koby gives a very obvious answer, a very Koby answer, as I would call it. But he says, no, that is wrong. You gotta leave the old man behind. And I hate to skip to the end of the chapter, but I'm assuming if you're here, you know what already happens.
Yeah.
Garp says you should abandon the old man, and then we see this play out at the very end. And I really love that, because a lot of times in life, I think we agree, a lot of times in life, it's easy to say one thing and then go back on your word when it includes yourself. Garp, no. Even if he's the old guy, he's like, yep, it's totally fair, leave me behind. He's actually smiling and laughing by the end of the chapter because of this. He counts Koby escaping by the end as a major W. And I love this.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
The framing of it was really done well in so many angles, which is one of the first things we were talking about in terms of how well, not just this chapter, but last chapter, adding on that chapter elevates this even more, because it's like, you know, we talked about this in the 1087 thing and in the live stream, which was like, if you go back to 1087, every panel is Garp being burdened by something. Like, whether it was Dragon, whether it was Luffy, whether it was Koby, whether it was the young Marines, whether like Koby's naivety, whether it was Kuzan being his first protege, and then Kuzan's like mental blow about, you know, you raising your enemies, that kind of thing. Like, every part of that, like, Garp was shouldering this burden, right? And then he demonstrates like why he got to the position he's at, like why he's such an icon, right? Like, yeah, this chapter really solidified that, because it's like even Kujaku, who would be regarded, and Kuzan is in this panel too. I believe that's Kuzan from the back because it has the same hair. Kujaku is telling him he's wrong. Don't say things like that. Don't give lectures like that. All lives
that's
are
not
equal,
Kujaku.
Right? Oh, that's not Kujaku? I thought it was Kujaku.
Kujaku is here. She's in the panel where Garp is throwing chalk at Koby. She's at the bottom left. But the lady that hits Garp is not Kujaku. That's somebody else entirely.
Oh, I just assumed that was all right. So whatever it is, there are senior officers there who are older than Koby, who should know, like, you know, the right or wrong answers, but they don't agree with Garp, right? But Garp is the one teaching the class. He's up front, right? Yeah, it's always
feel bad for the youth.
In our world, it's like, you know, someone can grow up to be, everyone has potential for good, potential for bad, but the thing is they have potential, right? And it's like, the older you are, the less potential you have. So you're going to protect
some people
the people
say
less,
that, like, hey, what if the baby grows up to be a serial killer? And it's like, well, it's not like you could tell that right off the bat. Like, I'm not like looking into the baby, giving him the death penance and being like, oh, like, who are you going to be in the future? No,
it's
like,
not like I'm Shanks.
You're taking that guess.
I'm not choosing who's gonna wear the straw hat.
Yeah,
some guy
like Shanks looks at him like, oh, this is a Joy Boy, and then you. Nah, we're gonna leave this baby over here. We're just gonna take this one. I see potential. Yeah, no, like you never know. And I love the lesson that Garp teaches, and I also agree. On paper, it makes more sense to save the younger person, and also I feel like. Maybe this is just me, but I feel like the old guy would also be like, hey, just go on without me, you know? Like, hey, you two, youngsters, all right, go. Like, I got this. I'll fight the monsters off, right? Like, put up a facade.
Yeah, they go out with they get this, like,
they get the pound treatment.
Whoa. I was going to say, like, no one wants to say this, but you know the movie line, go on without me, and you get to like have that heroic line. Nobody actually ever gets to do it. No one wishes that on themselves. But it's kind of like when you see someone do that and they got that and they do it in grace, you're kind of like, that guy,
hold the door, or
row
the boat.
Like the person who
they call him Robo,
who makes the sacrifice always gets held in a positive light. And I feel like as far as the ways to go out, it's like being known as a hero, like you gave up your life for something. It.
And then like what? It's like the newer generation, a baby and a young Marine. It's like, oh, they're gonna remember you. They're gonna get like a little tattoo about you later. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Carry on that legacy.
Yeah. So and then as the going back, because the premise of this was how Oda did the beginning and end of it. I just want to say, like, there's like multiple levels to it in this chapter, and it hit every way through. And when I realized at the end of it what happened because of the beginning, I was like, oh my god, this chapter's so good. Like, dude, because the chapter felt good reading it, and then when you got to the end and you realize the lines, you're like,
Oda gave us a nice little sandwich. He gave us a nice little sandwich here. Honestly, when I first read this page, I was like, yo, Garp's done. I mean, like, Garp isn't dying, but I was like, oh yeah, Garp's done. The minute they give you multiple Garp flashbacks, it's like, yeah, man, like, it is what it is, right? Like, you can't argue that Garp is gonna make it out of Hachinosu.
You know what's crazy is the title of this chapter. I don't know if we said this, but the final lesson, right?
My heart.
I came in like crying because, and even knowing we knew
you just
that
read
Garp
those words and you're like, oh god.
Yeah, because like
it's over.
We knew Garp was gonna die. It was a question of when, right?
Yeah.
And then like last chapter, it was like we saw like three death flags.
Whoa. He's not dying. If you say death, people are gonna have a little problem with that. Garp is in suspended animation.
He's in limbo.
He's currently in limbo. He's not aging. His cells have been frozen.
And so we like prior to this chapter, there was like 3-4 death flags that you and I both pointed to. And for some reason, when I saw the final lesson, I was like, death flag. I don't want to believe it. That's crazy. Final lesson's crazy. And I was coping at the beginning, right? And I somehow read this first page and I didn't see this as a death flag.
You didn't notice Garp saying, leave the old guy to die as a death flag?
No, I didn't.
It's like the most on the nose one.
I don't know why it didn't. Because at the end, I felt dumb. I was like, oh, he's the old... Oh, that's why
Garp is pushing into the geriatric age. Wow.
I guess that might be why. It's like,
I love that.
Garp is like not an old, like, yeah, he's an old dude.
He's old, but
not,
like, he doesn't give Superman. Off that. Yeah, he's like an old Superman.
Yeah, like I theorized, we talked about it. Him dying makes sense.
Like, Garp doesn't smell like hospice.
Even if he died in this chapter, I tweeted about it or talked about it. It's like, even if he were to die in this chapter, and this was when his story ended, the way it was framed was really good. Like, he could have left. Now, would the story be better if we get more? I think so. I think there's opportunity for that, right? Yeah. But I also think that this would have been a good exit point if Oda chose to. And it's like, it's just crazy because, like, as far as Garp's presentation here, it's like, how do you make this man exit? Like, to the point it was like he didn't have him die at the end of this story, at the end of this chapter, or He's in limbo. Like, we don't know. Like, that's how crazy this dude is.
It is mysterious.
Garp is too cool.
Garp is super cool.
Yeah.
But you know what else is super cool?
No, stop.
Yamakaji!
No!
Oh,
no!
Man, dude, I held back because, so to give everybody
I hated that
here,
segue.
Whenever spoilers come out for the chapter, I usually message Par, and I don't tell him anything about it because I know he does his live reactions. He doesn't want to get spoiled. But sometimes I'll message Par and be like, yo, there's a really cool chapter here, or a really cool character showing up. And it's always like super, vague. But I feel like if I were to say that his two favorite characters in the entire series shows up in one chapter, he would have lost his mind. Yamakaji and Vasco Shot in the same panel.
You know what's
Brother, I gotta know.
Because
are your pants on right now?
Stop. But you know what's funny is that this is a cool chapter. You say that as if you've only said that about this chapter. I feel like the context of what this is a cool chapter means is so...
Yeah.
It doesn't have...
Okay, here's the thing. I say that almost every chapter simply because Egghead Island has had nothing but bangers.
Yeah, and it's funny because...
Catch me at the beginning of Wano, beginning of Dressrosa, Whole Cake Island. It'll be a little bit different. I'll be like, subpar, haha, but...
It's funny because...
Egghead Island's kind of fire.
At this point, I know what a cool chapter means based off of like caps locks, based off of punctuations, based off of...
I'm like a teenage girl like typing Par like all caps. Whoa, this is awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, it's that. It's so like depending on the kind of cool, it's like either Yamakaji's here or Vasco or both, or someone died, or like the Marines just genocide. Like there's so many meanings to this, or Perona's in the chapter.
Yeah,
like,
but whenever Luffy's like the main focal point, I'm gonna be like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, meh.
Gear 5th, whatever, dude. Come on, Vasco. Where's Vasco Shot? But yeah, no, Yamakaji's here, and this part actually kind of shocked me that they just had to watch as Blackbeard just walked around and just grabbed up their subordinates. He literally just walked up, put rope around 800 men, and just put them on a ship and said, hey, well, see you later. Like, that's so insane. And I get it, right? Like, Akainu didn't give him permission to attack. Politically, if Kim Jong-un came to America and started kidnapping people, the cops can't do anything. Like, their hands are tied too, right? Like, if a political figure came to America, for example, like Putin came to America, Oklahoma, and he said, Sai, I'm going to kidnap your neighbors. The police can't do anything about that. We would like to think they could, but it's like, well, like, do we really stop Putin? Like, do we cause a world war? Like, it's such a dicey situation, so I understand Yamakaji and Koby not doing anything, but it's also rough. Because Yamakaji doesn't... Like, Koby at least looks, like, perturbed by the situation. Whereas Yamakaji's just like, oh, whatever. He's just smoking a cigar. He's like, ah, cool, whatever. Sword? Blackbeard? I think it's just because Yamakaji is that strong. He's just that guy.
You know what I just realized?
What's up?
I said this to you off call, but I said this on the stream. I just realized the purpose of this panel.
Yeah,
this page.
It shows that all lives are not equal. It correlates with Garp's lesson, I think, to a T.
Yeah, in that, like, it's not an old man and a baby, but it's the potential value thing.
Yeah.
He's one person, and that's 800 men, right?
800 men and a battleship.
Yeah, I mean, battleship aside, but it's like, he's looking at it the way the Garp said... Stop.
Hey, the economy's going down, man. The battleship is a lot.
And he's looking at the 800 lives as potential that's greater than him, because it's like, my potential, 800 potential. Based off of what Garp said, you save the potential, right? And that's what Koby demonstrated here. And it was to an emperor who no one else would want to stand up to.
Yep.
Which, as far as the context goes, in regards to willpower, in terms of being a conqueror, that is crazy. There's not many people who would stand up to Blackbeard in that light. There's not many people who can. Hell, Boa can't. Boa Hancock can't. And then Rayleigh shows up, and Rayleigh says he can't. And that's what's funny about this situation is Rayleigh's off the side said, no funny business, Blackbeard. Oh, but those guys...
Oh, yeah, no, that was kind of like another thing, too, because Rayleigh was like, hey, everybody, let's just drop our powers and let's leave. Like, no big deal. And then they're like, okay, so Blackbeard and the Marines go to the coast, and then Blackbeard just casually kidnaps 800 people. I'm like, really? Where are you? I know you're a pirate, but come on. Come on, brother. These guys have families.
Yeah, like,
that's funny.
Blackbeard's like a lawyer right now. He's just like, he said we couldn't fight, but he didn't say I couldn't tie you guys up.
Yeah, technically, I guess they're not causing violence over here.
Yeah. And then he's just like, "What? You're gonna fight? Did you hear Rayleigh?
Yeah, Rayleigh's in the background sweating. Rayleigh's like sweating, like, man. Well, if I stop him now, he's gonna actually fight me, and I can't win that one.
Yeah, and then
I can only do so much.
Yeah, and like that's just it's kind of funny because it's like Rayleigh was kind of like, hey, if no funny business, but if I'm looking this way, it's all good.
Just make sure Bo was okay. That's all I care about.
And the thing is, he knows Koby because Rayleigh knows Koby because he was in the broadcast and whatever, and Shanks and stuff.
Yeah,
like that moment was there, right? So it's like the person who stopped the war is this guy. He's the hero. And
then there's also Rocky Port, and we know Rayleigh reads the newspaper, so surely Rayleigh knows about that to some extent.
And he should know that this is like Garp's protege too, and
he should sense it. He should be able to sense
and Garp are should have some kind of like, not that he should, I'm not saying he should care about Koby in that light, but it's not like, I'm just saying that like Koby isn't like a complete random to Rayleigh, which is funny.
And you know how like Rayleigh protects Luffy because Luffy is like the next generation, his journey is just starting. You'd think he would look at this young Kaihei and he'd be like, whoa, like Koby, like I gotta protect this guy. He has limitless potential.
He looks at Blackbeard, you really gonna pluck the buds before they sprout?
Yeah.
And he's like, Koby,
you know what's the best part, though? The
What?
best part is that Blackbeard agrees with Garp's lesson because he sees the potential of Koby so much so that he's willing to accept this trade.
It's interesting you say that, because that is what's happening here, but it's also because this happens with Kuzan too, to a certain extent, with Garp in that moment. It kind of reflects that ideal where Blackbeard is looking at Koby's proposal as if Koby's offering it because he thinks he's equal value or more, and Blackbeard would accept, whereas Koby's looking at it like, no, they are greater value, I am lesser. And so Blackbeard's kind of like, you know, that paints a very big picture, which again gets highlighted. There's so many angles.
It's so good. God. And the best part is that Blackbeard himself knows how much Koby would be worth. Because Blackbeard's fought alongside Koby twice. Here on Amazon Lily and back at Rocky Port. So Blackbeard knows his potential. So he's like, you know what? You versus 800 men in a battleship? Yeah, we'll take Koby instead. That's kind of crazy to think about.
And he didn't know that he was in Sword yet, but he's also like, he was literally like, I got you, right? I could trade you for the world government spot or something, like, you know, that was like a part of his plan,
looked at Koby and he said, yo, this is my ticket to kingship.
Yeah, like he didn't say like the full ticket, but he basically said like, you're valuable in that regard. I'm like, who the Gorosei are gonna look at Koby and be like, who this?
Yeah, if I was the Gorosei and they sent me a picture of Koby saying Blackbeard wants to trade him, I'd like bust up laughing.
Yeah,
I was like, who's Koby?
And then even if the Gorosei delegated that to Akainu, was like, hey, is this guy important? Akainu would look at me and burn the paper.
Yeah, Akainu would look at me and be like, not only did he stop me at Marineford, but he's trying to potentially date my granddaughter? No. We got to stop this man in his tracks. Do you believe the Hibari theory that Hibari is Akainu's daughter or granddaughter thing?
I mean, there's no reason not to at this point. I don't see anything to disagree with it. I think it elevates all my agendas because my agenda is the rom-com thing. This chapter locked that shit in. Like, Hibari's eyes, you could, like, Oda literally drew Hibari's reaction to cement that Koby has secured the bag. He has secured lineage.
They already have the rom-com spin-off.
And it's incredible. Now it's canon, and if you're adding a family like background, like Akainu,
who's very different from both of them,
like the father-in-law drama, if you're adding all that in the background seamlessly, that's just chef's kiss, right? Like, we don't come to One Piece for that. But if you're gonna give it to me anyways, it's like, you know what? That's just another reason to like One Piece. Yeah,
I love watching Akainu, Hibari, and Koby's reaction in the spin-off manga. Because it's always the most random thing. Like, every time Akainu's in the same panel as Koby, he's always yelling at him. he doesn't miss. So I feel like if we ever get that in One Piece, like the canon manga, I can't wait to see that. I want to see what a reaction, like a panel between Akainu and Koby would look like. Because their justices are very different.
Yeah, like, oh, you know what'd be sick? I talked about this in terms of Koby and Aokiji, but like Koby at the end of the series stopping Aokiji from like magma fisting somebody would be crazy. Like, he doesn't need shanks, he just does it with his finger.
Oh yeah, that'd be dope.
That'd be sick. And
maybe not with his finger, but like maybe like he matches Akainu. I think the finger is insane.
Yeah,
I'm gonna one finger an admiral. Nice. No, I think Kobe's going to be super strong by the end of the series, but I don't think he's going to be that strong where he just simply blocks an Akainu attack with a finger.
That could be how Akainu accepts him as a son-in-law, where it's like prior, there's like friction, like you and my grand... Ain't no way. And then Koby like flexes on him a little bit like that. Like he stops it, and then he's not sweating, but he's kind of like, huh? What? I was actually trying in this punch. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that would kind of cool.
Yeah, they just clash, and then he's like, you know what? Fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Like strength is, or justice is strength, right?
Yeah.
But you know what else is strong? Avala Pizarro's hand.
I hate these segues.
It's so strong. Kujaku says, "What power?" That was actually a little bit disappointing. The fact that Kujaku looks up at this and says, like in utter disbelief. Like, she gets the ringed eyes. That's how shocked she is from this attack. And then Tashigi literally says, guys, jump into the ocean. Guys, we gotta go. Like, that's actually a little bit insane to me. Like, I still can't believe my eyes. Like, maybe I'm reading this wrong. Maybe I just don't know English, but seeing how powerless everybody is to this attack is kind of insane.
What I want to say... If you guys, I don't want to talk about Tashigi in this call. We talked enough about
let me bring up Tashigi. Tashigi?
No, don't even do it. Way. It's disrespectful to us to have to even talk about her at this point.
Tashigi's dream is to collect every graded sword in the world. Mihawk sword, Zoro swords, the swords on Wano, Shiryu's sword, Whitebeard's sword. Like, she wants to collect
Fang swords. So that's even like that's swords. Ungraded swords too. Like that's
she wants to collect swords from all the pirates. Any criminal in the world, every criminal in the world, Tashigi wants to run that gauntlet and take your sword. She wants to be. I would say that's a harder feat than becoming the world's greatest swordsman, because
that's
Zoro
a harder
just
feat
has
than
to beat
Pirate
Mihawk.
King.
Yeah, it's harder than Pirate King. Zoro just has to beat Mihawk. Luffy just has to find Laugh Tale. Tashigi actually has to beat everybody. She can't miss a single fight. And then she has to take their blades afterwards. Like that, like Shanks. She has to take Griffin from Shanks.
She said it at a time when Whitebeard. She said it at a time when Whitebeard was alive. By the way,
yeah, the world's strongest man was a thing when she said this, and Whitebeard had a supreme grade blade. When she said she wanted to collect all of them, Whitebeard was included on that list. Men. Absolutely insane.
She couldn't even take it from his dead body on her.
She didn't even grave rob my man. And here's the thing. I
hit him
believe
with the
in shonen tropes. I say that if somebody declares a dream in a shonen, 9 out of 10, they're going to succeed. Koby wants to be an admiral. Sure, why not? I believed in it since day one, and now here we have it. It's kind of paying off. Tashigi says that she wants to collect every sword in the verse. I don't think that's ever going to pay off. I think that's going to be a failed dream, and she has no chance of actually succeeding. I think I am very justified in saying so. This chapter, she saw this hand. She didn't even try to fight it. She didn't even touch her sword. She said, guys, let's run. Like, that is insane.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, you don't have to, like, I don't think you have to, like, this isn't like a Pika situation. You don't have to cut off the entire thing and stop Pika, right? Like, but you can do, like, the fingers, cut off the fingers.
Yeah, cut off the fingers, anything.
You don't need to do one slash.
It's not hockeyed up. This isn't hockey.
Like, yeah, you're telling me she can't cut ground? She can't cut ground? Like, what? Zoro can accidentally cut cliffs off. Like, why can't she just do that?
Could cut pillars in Alabasta just by accident. And you're telling me Tashigi can't cut that? Like, yeah, granted, this is a powerful attack. I don't want to undersell that Avalo Pizarro, you know, is like strong or weak or whatever, but base level, like, this is just a hand coming down. Like, that's all it is. This is like lesser than Dressrosa Pika level. Like, that's at the end of the day, that's what that is. And you're telling me Tashigi can't do anything. Kujaku can't do anything about this. That's actually a little bit disappointing.
Yeah.
And like, I would at least like to see them try, is my thing. At least try.
The Tashigi, see, the thing is, it's like it's because they were afraid of it, right? Like that's like they were afraid of it and helpless of it, right? And you know, to be fair, Koby, all of them, like Koby didn't know he could do something, right? He didn't believe in himself. That's separate, right? Because the difference is Tashigi doesn't. No one in Kujaku and Tashigi don't have the same problem that Koby has, which is the confidence, which is the lack of belief, which is slated out from the very beginning. No, the thing that my issue is, and you said it, like, right, like, we believe Koby, Admiral, we talked extensively about that 1087 live stream, which was like, Koby said his dreams, and up to a certain point, we have to ask, does it make sense? This chapter makes sense. This chapter 100%. Koby, Oda made it, put like, stock into that, like a lot of it.
He put the bird seeds out there and the birds are now eating.
Koby is Luffy's marine counterpart, and maybe there's more than one, right? As far as counterpart goes, right? I'm not saying rival, not saying like if you guys think smoke or whatever, but like no, Koby and Luffy, they met, they both said their dreams to each other, they both countered each other, they wanted to see both of them grow to the highest level. Koby wants to see Luffy become Pirate King, and Luffy is like, yo, become Admiral. That's dope, because you need to be at least that strong to be my friend or something, whatever he said, right? Tashigi has the same thing with Zoro, and even crazier because Tashigi looks like Zoro's childhood rival, so it's like even more elevated.
And Kuina wanted to be the world's strongest swordsman too.
And at the same level, or at the same part of the story where Tashigi should have way more development, justifyingly, than Koby. Koby is out here doing things that basically only a handful of people on Marineford or in the Marines could even do. Yet Tashigi doesn't even have a single sword towards her dream, which is the most depressing thing.
See, that's the thing. Like, Koby, he wants to be an admiral. He took the steps to become an admiral. Like, he's getting there slowly but surely. Luffy wants to be king of the pirates. He's collecting the poneglyphs. He's taking down emperors, warlords. Zoro, world's strongest swordsman. He's getting stronger day by day. He's fighting stronger and stronger opponents. He's gonna get there. Tashigi wants to find every sword. How many swords has she found and collected?
What she should be doing right here
0.
is she should have been fighting Shiryu.
Yeah. If she really wanted swords, you think that she would be on this island saying, Shiryu, I want your bloodthirster. Come on. Like, but no,
how many times is she...
What is she doing?
How many times is she going to go after Shiryu to get that sword? It should be something like, even if she's weaker, you know what I mean? She should be trying. You know what I mean? That's at the end of the day
effort.
what it is.
Yeah, it's it's the effort that is what's missing.
Yeah, like as memeified as Kid is, at least there's a part of it that you respect, that at least he tried.
You gotta respect the grind.
Yeah, and she's no grinding. And then for Kujaku, the reason why I'm disappointed is because Hibari, we theorize she's Akainu's granddaughter, but Kujaku's actually Suru, one of the three.
Suru's granddaughter. Suru at her age was considered like a monster.
Yeah,
that's
and
crazy.
Kujaku is looking at a mountain and is afraid, and it's like this. You know, a mountain is crazy, but it's like what power? It's like I'm pretty sure Suru even right now can stop that. You know what I mean? So like, what power shouldn't be coming out? For me, it's like she put so much respect on what Pizarro did, even though I'm pretty sure everybody in Kujaku's life no diffs that. Sengoku, Garp, Tsuru, Kuzan, the admirals, some of the, apparently Koby, like, you know what I mean? Like, literally everyone in Kujaku's like respectable life it clears this mountain. You know what I mean?
It's pain.
The only reason why, and we talked about this in 1087. We felt that both of us said, like, we thought that at this point in the story, Koby should be able to handle his hand. 1087, it felt weird, right? Because of the timeline of stuff, right? And the thing is, it's like, we thought that because in the grand scheme of One Piece, this hand isn't some insane thing at the level that we're at.
Yeah.
If it was East Blue, pre-time skip, we are post-time skip, last saga. There are countless characters that you could figure out that could take this. And it's like, yeah, they're really strong, but there has to be more than just Garp here that could do it, right? And it's not, like you said, not Haki, nothing crazy, you know what I mean? Like, that part was disappointing. But, you know, there's a realization that Koby has and a message that Garp has that maybe it applies to everybody. Maybe that's my copium for these two, but these two don't count in my opinion. It's Helmeppo, Groose, and Koby that get the Garp treatment.
They are all the future of the Marines. They will get a glow up. If I meme on Tashigi and I say that she won't achieve her dream, I still don't think that. But I still hold out a little bit of hope in my heart that by the end of the series, she might at least stand 10 seconds in a ring with Zoro. Like,
no.
10 seconds. That's like a clash and quick banter.
No, but the thing is, like, think about this. Gyukimaru was closer to Tashigi's dream. Is closer to Tashigi's dream.
Yeah, Gyukimaru and Onimaru. They're collecting all of the swords from Wano.
They robbed Zoro successfully, I think twice. Like,
yeah.
Tashigi could never.
I think Oda forgot about Tashigi's dream. And you know what? That's fine. We can't fit everybody's dreams here. The will of man goes on forever. The dreams of women dies, I guess.
God.
You know how it is. So we go to
We're gonna
Pirate
find out
Island.
Joy Boy is a girl and Lily. Like,
that's the reason why Joy Boy couldn't achieve his dream.
No,
rest in peace. I would hate to see that.
You know what's crazy? Actually,
What's up?
What I said, I clipped this out, was in 1087 stream. I said, Koby could maybe take out this hand on his own, but considering like the ball and chain situation, if Koby were to take out the hand, that would be the wildest thing Oda could do for Koby. And I sat there, because now this chapter, I kind of sat there and I was like, wait, I should start thinking about it differently. Whatever I think is the wildest thing that could be happening for a main character-esque like Koby, maybe that's the route, and I just got to figure out how Oda's going to justify it. And, you know, we were trying to do that, but like, do I do that with Tashigi? Do I try to figure out?
No, don't waste your time. Or I'll say this right now. Don't waste your time.
Oh God, it's crazy.
So we go to Hachinosu, and Garp has a very different reaction than he did last chapter. Last chapter, he said justice will prevail, and he looked kind of grim. But this time around, he's smiling. Like, last chapter, I was kind of on the boat that Garp wasn't having the best of days. You know, he had to fight Kuzan. You know, he got stabbed by Shiryu. He wasn't exactly smiling like he is in this chapter. This chapter, something switched up. I think it's because he realizes that, you know, he sees the end. Or at least the end of how Hachinosu is going to play out for him. So he decides to teach. He decides to use this as a teaching moment. So he says, you guys can stop this. Helmeppo, cover the rear. Guru, stop the debris. But Koby, you destroy the hand. They all rush off. And, you know, just speeding forward a little bit. I'm going to skip the Helmeppo part for now, and we're just going to focus on Garp for a second. We'll keep the boys all clustered together. Garp faces off against Kuzan, and Garp actually speed blitzes him. That is crazy to me. Because beforehand, it's like, oh, like Garp and Kuzan, they're somewhat evenly matched. And then we see it here that Garp is way faster than Kuzan, at least from this showing. Like, Kuzan doesn't even have his glasses on, and he couldn't see this man coming.
And he's a big man. Garp is huge.
He's huge.
Yeah, like literally a mountain of a dude.
And it's a familiar presence, too. So you can't say that he wasn't, like, expecting this at all. Like, no, like, he knows this guy. He should know how fast he is, and he still couldn't keep up.
How fast, how strong. He should know a lot about Garp. And how he measures up, too. So, like, to have that face as a reaction, to me, it's significant. Either it's significant, or you could say he's acting. But, you know, I think
the acting route.
I like the acting route, and I see it through and through from beginning to end. And, you know, I've been talking about it here and there. And I think there's several moments that you can say this adds to that agenda, but also at the same time, I think all of these moments can be seen for what it is, which is this could just be seen as, yo, Garp actually just went like plus ultra, you know what I mean? Just was like, you know, surprised them. He still has it in the bag, you know, you could see it for as it is, and this is genuinely Aokiji going like, what? What just happened to me?
He's just actually so shocked. It's just because we've never seen this reaction from Kuzan. Like, even in Marineford, when Kuzan was, you know, fighting Whitebeard stabbed him in the chest, and Aokiji was, like, unfazed by it. This is, like, one of the first times Kuzan has had this look on his face of, like, utter disbelief and shock. He's like, whoa, Garp, he's blitzing me? I love it.
You know what is a good example, actually?
What's up?
Because there's no shot Kuzan has ever seen Whitebeard use his Gura the way he did at Marineford. But you remember the face Luffy made when he realized what Whitebeard did, and, like, the entire island was tilted, and so were the tectonic plates on the outside of the island, and he saw, like, the layer, and Luffy was like, oh my god. And then Kuzan looked at that and like,
he didn't care. He just did this. He said Ice Age, and that was it.
Yeah,
Kuzan was unfazed by Whitebeard's power, but he's shocked by Garp's speed. I love that. But then again,
he actually should have never been able to, you know, that's nitpicking. Obviously Oda didn't write that scene for that context, whereas he's writing this scene paying a lot of attention to detail on these specific characters. So I love
the reaction.
Say in this moment, it's kind of like, I look at it as Garp is just like pulling out the old man, you know, like old man strength, like it's just surprising sometimes. Yeah. That's what Garp did, is just like you don't even know. You don't even know what I got.
What? Like, Kuzan's like, hey, where are you going with the wound like that? And then you see the drip from the blood. So Kuzan's probably like, oh, I know Garp. He's on death's door. He's not going to do anything. And then, boom, it's like, imagine your grandpa, right? Like, if your grandpa or grandparents are still alive, like, imagine they just sit on the couch all day. You know they were once really strong, but here they are. They're coughing. They got the whooping cough. They don't have much longer for this world. But all of a sudden, your grandpa gets up, and he starts benching, like, 225. It's like, wait, what? What is going on?
It's crazy. I was going to save it for the 50-50, but my grandpa, he passed away. But the year before he died, which was so surprising to me as a kid. Oh, he just randomly died. It was kind of a weird thing. Well, to me as a kid, you know, it was in Bangladesh, so like as far as like autopsies and figuring out what actually happened, we don't really know. But you know, he's an old dude.
It's still a mystery. Not even the coroner knows.
I mean, he's an old dude. It's like
they put mystery disease. We're gonna find out how crazy that lobotomy goes, because Garp rushes through the entire town, speed blitzes the buildings, and then he lobotomizes the skull. Galaxy Divide. He splits it in half. It's a powerful attack.
And
I will say that.
Do you think he made up, like, do you think he named this move specifically for this moment? Like, when else has he needed to divide something? Like, he never used this on Don Tinjao or, like, anything else. Like, I feel like he was just like, what do I name this?
It would have been cool if he named it Skull Splitter. Just name moves at the moment.
You know, Galaxy Divide, fine.
It's cool. But it's a cool name.
Yeah. Like,
it's essentially just a galaxy impact, though. Really, when you like look at it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, why isn't it just impact? Well, what's the difference here? Is it just because the result? Like, so did he just like? He's like, oh, this is a good name. Like,
maybe it's not as round as impact. So he's like Galaxy Divide. Maybe it's like almost like a slash attack, but we just can't see it from this angle.
Yeah. Like
a circular saw.
He ran in like this, but then he did the one punch, like the...
Yeah, he popped it out a little bit.
Yeah, like that.
We'll never know. He's moving too fast for us to see, and too fast for Avala Pizarro to actually react. And it's crazy because, literally, Avala Pizarro sees Garp, and he's like, I'm still gonna crush Garp's ship. Like, I can't get distracted by this guy. Like, he was almost underplaying how much this would hurt, in a way.
Yeah, you know, there's two things I think I was going to bring up later, but I'm going to bring it up now, which is, I just realized maybe, because this is not how Pika's power worked at all. Pika's, like, power was, like, if you didn't hit his core body, you didn't damage him, right? So, like, if Pika was in, his body was in that part of the stone, that Garp hit, then Pika would be hurt. But if Pika was controlling the stone, but his body was like somewhere else, then you wouldn't hurt him, right? That was the whole point of like how Zoro slashed and tried to find the core body. And you would think that like Garp speed blitzed him, but like, you know, Pizarro saw, like, he's like, Mia, like, there's like 3... Wait, I can't get distracted. I'm surprised he didn't leave the thing, and you said something like, I still want to crush the ship, which made me realize something. What if one of the contingencies on Pizarro's powers, it doesn't work like Pika's, in that maybe when Pizarro uses his fruit, he has to be the entire island.
That would be kind of goofy. I mean, I'm down for it. It makes sense, like the island fruit, right? It does make sense. But also another reason why I think he took so much damage is because there's like that Conqueror's Haki behind that Ryuo. Like, I feel like if Garp were to use this on Pika, like the giant stone body, even if Pika wasn't... Oh, maybe... No, because Pika actually left. Wait, I don't know.
Yeah, Zoro bisected it and then chop.
I take that back.
And the whole point of it was Zoro was trying to find where the main body was, because if you hit the big thing, that's not hitting Pika.
Yeah, and
this is a Paramecia, it's not a Logia.
Here we have it. Avalo Pizarro doesn't leave the skull.
Yeah, but it's even weirder because his power, and this is the reason why I'm saying he might be the entire island, because it's shown that he's not using it like Pika. He's using it like a Gundam almost. He's like, he's in like a spot.
Which is why last chapter we kind of brought up the idea that maybe he stands up, because you see the hands and the legs.
Yeah.
Like, we were kind of expecting him to like stand up this chapter, but he's still like flailing around. So I am curious to see what his fruit would look like once it awakens. Maybe once he awakens, he actually stands up out of the island and he can move around as the island. There's a lot of interesting things with this fruit, and honestly, I would say that I like it a lot more now in this chapter, seeing what it can do, more than when we first heard about it. Because when we first heard about it and saw it, it was like, he's talking through the island, he can feel things, and then we expected him to be more Pika-like. But this chapter, it does draw that line as to like Pika's fruit, and then here's Avalo Pizarro's fruit, and I enjoy that.
Here's another thing too. Another route of understanding here is we don't know when Pizarro got this fruit. This could be a newer thing. Maybe he's not as good at using it. It's an overpowered fruit. So maybe he doesn't now, because Garp did this and Koby did this. Now he might be like, oh, I don't need to control the whole thing. Maybe he gets better. At the minimum, out of this situation, which we won't get based off the ending of the chapter, I would like it if, and we're going to get this eventually when the Blackbeard pirates get explained, but like, I would have liked to see the outcome of this battle for Pizarro, specifically because of what happened to him. Because when we see him again, I'm expecting that it's going to be some time, and we're going to get it explained. But I feel like this is just like another one of those Oda things, like, I'm just going to leave this nebulous until I explain it. Whereas because like what you said, like when we got introduced to this thing, I think it was fair for a lot of people to be like, it's lame, it's a rehash of Pika, whatever, like, meh. But like, there is a lot of nuance to what's happening here, and it could be, maybe he's new to it, or maybe it works in a super specific way, or maybe, like, maybe the Gundam thing is accurate, right? Like, he has to be the entire island, which could be a cool, it's a double-edged sword, where it's like, this is overpowered, but you also have the negative part of having to be the entire island, which, comes with its shortcomings.
If he's actually a Gundam, like you said, like, he stands up and he's a giant monster, I would love to see Frankie fight him. It could be the perfect opponent for Frankie.
Yeah. I'd love that.
And what's funny too? Be cool. Another thing that ties him to Frankie in a weird way, in Avalo Pizarro's early concept, his name was actually the Last Lion. Ooh. So maybe that ties in with Sunny, since Sunny is supposed to be a lion. So it's like, lion versus lion. Here we go. I do think he's a really cool character. He's growing on me.
Yeah, I think. This is one of the wackier ones, and I'm okay with it so far. I'm okay. Though I would go out on a limb and say, pun. I would go out on a limb and say that This fruit feels better on Pirate Island, on Hachinosu, given that there is like a face there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
if this was like Dressrosa or Wano, it's like, what would that look like?
He's just Mount Fuji now. Like, yo,
Yeah.
if he got all of Wano, that'd be sick. That'd be so
kind of cool.
sick.
Pluton, like he like lets the water like go. He changes the island shape.
He should be able to do that.
Oh yeah, he should easily be able to do that.
Yeah. Damn.
There's a lot of cool potential with Avala Pizarro's Devil Fruit, but we just don't know the limits of it yet.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's so interesting that during the entirety of Hachinosu, we do not get a single bounty reveal.
Oh.
Oda's hiding it. Oda's hiding the Blackbeard bounty.
You're right. And that's crazy because we even got Garp's bounty.
Yeah, we got Garp and Koby's bounty before any of the Blackbeard pirates who were actually fighting here. Even Kuzan. Kuzan should technically have a bounty too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all a mist. Oda is hiding it. I think the reason why Oda's hiding it is because he doesn't want to give us any he doesn't want us to theorize the matchups quite yet. You know, the minute he drops the bounties, like obviously the second highest bounty is going to be going to Zoro, third to Sanji, whatever. So maybe that's why Oda doesn't want to tell us yet, or maybe even Oda doesn't want us to think that we're close yet. Because if the bounties were close enough to Luffy and Zoro and everybody else, then it'd be like, oh, they're going to be like the next fight.
Yeah, because I was gonna say
it's interesting
that when you think about a post time skip, there is a justification in that nothing from memory that Blackbeard hit is a government affiliated anything. He took Whitebeard stuff. He Winter's Island, Amazon Lily doesn't count. Nothing's government affiliated, so maybe. But then the thing is, like, the Impel Down people should have bounties because they were an Impel Down.
Yeah.
So that's they clashed with CP0. Yeah. Wait. The Blackbeard Pirates clashes. They should have a bounty. That's weird.
Yeah, they would all have bounties, and even like Lafitte, for example. Sengoku knew who Lafitte was. Like the minute he showed up, he was like, "Wait, like you're that peace officer guy that like attacked a bunch of people." Like all of these guys are somewhat notorious, and even Burgess, like all the citizens of Dressrosa immediately recognized him. But not once throughout the entire series have we seen any of their bounties except for Blackbeard.
Yeah, and another thing I was gonna say is like technically after like Marineford on its own should be a crime, but the Impel Down prisoners didn't commit any crimes against, like, they only killed pirates. So like, would the Navy care about that? But again, they're Impel Down, so they should have a base bounty.
Yeah, they're Impel Down, and plus they're Titanic commanders. Like what? The Straw Hat Pirates got bounty boost because they're commanders, right? Like they all got like a 300 attacking base.
But like they, I think like prior to Eni's lobby, right? Like the other Straw Hats didn't have anything. It was just Zoro.
Oh yeah,
and Luffy.
Prior to Eni's lobby, but like once.
Right, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but like
right?
But after Wano, like the newspaper was like, oh, Luffy and his 9 commanders, and then boom, we get like a major bounty boost, and everybody got like a flat 300 minimum across the board.
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at, right? Because like all the other Straw Hats were on the crew and they knew about him, especially after Arabasta.
Yeah.
But none of them had a bounty until they attacked the world government at Eni's lobby. Right? They actively participated. And then from then on, anything that Luffy did, it didn't even matter what they did. They just got tacked on. Whereas after Marineford, technically, they didn't do any crimes. From what we know,
the Blackbeard Pirates, you mean?
Blackbeard Pirates only attacked pirates.
I mean, we don't know that 100% because we know that... So, from what we know so far, Blackbeard, when we were first introduced to him again post-time skip, he had a bounty of like what 2.36 billion something around there, and then now we see him and he's like 3.9, and it's like, yo, this guy's going, he must have done something heinous, right? Whether he attacked another pirate, whether it's Rocky
I would have
Port,
just assumed it's
or like a Navy
took
ship
over the Whitebeard, like the Yonko title thing, right? Because like Luffy got it from Kaido and Big Mom, right?
Yeah.
But like there's so much behind that as well, right? They as far as like naming the 4 Yonko, which is a weird.
So
thing
are you trying to say that like the Blackbeard Pirates have no reason to have a big bounty? Is that what you're trying to go with?
I guess the other ones, yeah, it's a little weird. But
I feel like they're just gonna be like guilty by association. I feel like the minute
True.
Blackbeard gets a bounty, like they're gonna be like, hey, let's just go ahead and throw Vala Pizarro like 100 million.
Yeah. No,
I feel like that's how it's gonna go personally.
Now
we'll
I'm
see.
just fascinated because of what you said about the bounty thing, because like that's such a crazy, because the bounty thing is like Oda's bread and butter, and he didn't want to preface like
I think he's still
expectations.
hiding it. He's keeping the cards close to his chest. So Koby starts running up Pizarro's arm, and he's like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna do something. And then this is when we start getting a flashback, right? We got the flashback of Koby training 100 to 200 times harder than everybody else, punching the battleship bag at night after Garp's training. Everything is going according to Garp's plan. Everything Garp probably wanted for Luffy, he's now getting from Koby. It's such a wholesome moment because, I don't know, man, like, I've always felt bad for Garp. Like, Luffy becoming a pirate and Dragon being a revolutionary, and then Kuzan betraying him. Koby really is like the son he never had. And here we have it. Koby uses Honesty Impact. He's got the Black Lightning, and he just destroys Pizarro's hand. Just with pure faith, and with an attack that has, I'd say, the same namesake as Garp's Galaxy Impact. Obviously, he changed up Galaxy to Honesty. Maybe he's just going to have honest attacks from now on, but either way, he destroys the entirety of Pizarro's arm. And what do you think about this? How do you feel? Conqueror's Haki? What's up? What's up?
Validated. That is Conqueror's Haki. You know, I'm gonna have like 2 full videos, separate notions. One of them is on the Conqueror's Haki. Other one's gonna be like the narrative part about Koby, Garp, Kuzan, the protege thing. These 2 chapters alone is worth an entire character arc for another series, like in terms of conversation, in terms of meaning, how loaded this was. Like when you really think about it, going into Hachinosu, we didn't know anything about Garp really. You know what I mean? Like we knew things here and there.
Yeah.
We understood what kind of guy he was. We didn't know that much about him. We also didn't know that much about Koby. We saw him grow up from his beginnings, and so that gave us confidence that this is the trajectory he would go in, and that was the right path, right? He had never strayed from that trajectory, so why would he now? As far as where he's at now, I think because both you and I had said, like, the arm thing, it was at least in our brains. For longest time, beginning of my channel, you know, shouts to 3evil to him as well. There was a stark few amount of people that were confident enough to say out loud 100% Koby would get Conquerors, not even like a doubt. You know, because there's always a conversation, will Oda care enough about Koby? And my thought was like, this is the character after Shanks is Koby. In the anime, Koby is like the first character. Like, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, he's huge. He's mad. He gets more screen time than Nami. Nami gets shown in the anime, but it's Koby, and it's like Koby's so important. Koby's the first person outside of Shanks he tells his dream as an adult, right? Like there's so many things about Koby that just narratively very important.
He's being raised by Luffy's grandpa. He has his stamp of approval.
A legend of the past.
Shanks even acknowledged him.
Yeah, Shanks even. There's so many data points for the trajectory, but I can say confidently, even in my mind, this was not what I expected in terms of the outcome of this punch. I thought that the maximum we would get here, in the best case scenario from Koby, if I were to double down on 1087, say Koby has Conqueror's Haki, which I did, and that he would take out this hand, which I didn't. But I thought that it was a possibility. I just didn't see it from 1087's point. Because, again, to clarify, Sai and I both thought that the hand would be dealt at the beginning of the chapter, and then we do with other stuff later on.
Yeah, like, I didn't expect the hand to be the focal point of this chapter at all. Like, the way last chapter framed this hand, it seemed like it would just be an immediate thing. And I didn't think Koby would break it, simply because Koby, at that moment when the hand was about to destroy the ship, Koby just like threw his hands up and it was like, oh, goodness gracious. And then Garp said, justice will prevail. It sounded really ominous, as if somebody else is going to stop it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was like leading into this, which I was like, oh, okay, this is a nice little surprise.
which is like there's like 9 different things there, right? The justice will prevail. Someone else will do it.
Yeah.
And that was true. It was just we didn't understand the context that Garp would be the setup here. Garp proved the limitless potential of a baby, which Koby was at the beginning of the story, and now he's Ikoku sovereignty, blasting island people.
Nice. I love seeing Koby shine like this, and just skipping over to the end real quick, where Garp says that everyone here are the future of the Marines. Eventually, Akainu's not going to be here anymore. Kuzan's not going to be here. Kizaru's not going to be here. Green Bull Fujitora, even they're all super old. For some reason, they're all like the age of prime ministers and presidents. They're like pushing like into their 50s. And it's like, dang, that's cool. But like, we have no youngsters here. And what would Koby, Helmeppo, Garus, Tashigi, Hibari, Kuja, like what would they look like when they're at that age? At the admiral age? Like, do you think they're all going to be this powerful? Like, yeah, Garp believes in Koby. Garp called Koby the future of the Marines. But, Garp believes in everybody. He believes in the limitless potential of all young people. Do you think eventually, granted, we don't have to see it, right? By the end of One Piece, I don't think it's in the cards for everyone. But do you think Helmeppo and everybody else will be around this level? Or at least have a showing that's this grand? Or do you think this is a Koby exclusive thing? Because, I think it could go either way. I feel like Koby, yes, he's going to stand head and shoulders above everyone else. But I think it would be kind of nice to see, memed on her earlier, like Tashigi or Helmeppo pull something off that we look at and we're like, oh, wow, that's actually super cool. It doesn't have to be, honesty, impact level, Zoro beating King levels of hype. So after Koby attacks, he starts wincing in pain. Garp is laughing. Helmeppo just jumps over and picks him up. Guru stops all of the rubble with the clay web. And I think it's funny because I don't know if you saw, but some people are comparing the clay web to Doflamingo. So they're like, whoa, like does Doflamingo and Grus have a connection? I'm like, I don't think so. I mean, it's just the web. It's not like unique or anything. If it was like a celestial dragon web and it had like the markings of the dragon on there, then I'm like, whoa, maybe this is like Doflamingo-esque. But, as it stands right now, it's just a web. Like, what else would he use to block, right? Like a wall?
If he pulled out the 16 holy clay strands.
The 16 holy clay. Yeah. When he whips that out, then I'll like start tossing that one a bone. But right now.
We do have to question why he's Prince.
Yeah, that's still a question. The Prince thing, the hat. Like, there's interesting things there. More interesting than the Doflamingo spider web thing. Because if you want to bring up the web thing, I mean, I'm going to bring up Largo. I mean, Largo's the homie when it comes with webs. From the Little East Blue saga. He had the net fruit. And he created, like, webs of everything. And then Luffy has a net attack, too. Or a web attack. Yeah, he uses his shield. And it's like a whole net thing. So, I mean, maybe Luffy's connected to Doflamingo. You never know. Yeah, Luffy is Doflamingo's dad. So
exactly,
they hop on board the ship. They're all hanging out.
Doflamingo dad, crocodile mom, crazy theory.
You heard it here first. We found Luffy's real parents. It's not Dragon. It's not Garp. It's actually Doflamingo and Crocodile. Confirmed. You heard it here. We actually have a foolproof theory. A 5-hour-long video coming out next Sunday. Stay tuned for that one.
Dragon is actually Doflamingo this entire time.
He just used it's the same person.
His string fruit. He can change clones. If he could clone, then he can make a whole entire visual.
We all thought they were wind powers, but it turns out it was just Doflamingo's webs, his strings clearing out the clouds, bringing in the weather. He strung together every raindrop over to Logtown.
When we got introduced to him, he was like flying in the air, and we were supposed to understand that he was like climbing on clouds with his strings. It was just like, whoa, that's crazy, Oda. But like,
if Doflamingo can latch onto clouds, I guarantee you, Doflamingo could string along clouds as well. He could just pull it like a balloon, right? Just like, hey, I want it to rain in Logtown. You know what? Maybe this theory has some legs. You know?
Yeah. No, Logtown. The wind was Buffalo.
Buffalo's just spanning over everything. I love this. I love that we give the Doflamingo, Groose theory, no mind, but we're giving so much thought to the dragon and Doflamingo mom and dad theory. That's lovely. So we go to the end.
I gotta tell you something off call. It was
Garp
wild. It happened yesterday.
is on the ground, and he says, "You guys are all the future of the Marines," and that's GG. Like, Garp stayed behind. When, in all reality, you know, maybe it's like we didn't see what was going on. Maybe Garp did hold down the fort, but I'm just like, dang, Garp could have just jumped up. Because 1 minute we see him laughing. Like, we don't know how much time passed, but 1 second we see Garp laughing at Koby's attack. And then the next time we see Garp, he's on the floor, icicles sticking out of him. Shiryu, San Juan Wolf, Avala Pizarro, Vasco Shot, Kuzan, like everybody's surrounding him. It's like, how much time passed? Like, what happened? What did we miss? It's like one of those things where you blink and somebody's dead. It's like, wait, what? Huh?
Yeah. So, like, I've seen people say, like, you know, and we talked about it, you know, as far as like Garp giving up, that this chapter 100% giving up in the sense of like he's not weaker, but the problem is like if he tried to escape, what would happen? It's the same thing that was earlier where if what was it Tashigi said if they jumped, oh no, Pizarro said Pizarro could just freeze the ocean, right?
Yeah, Aokiji could freeze the ocean.
The entire thing about like they could be all the way gone from the island. If you guys remember what Kuzan can do, he can freeze oceans, like entire oceans, like seas or whatever. Like he could do that if he really wanted to. Why isn't Kuzan doing that right now? It's because he got what he wanted. Every time Kuzan got up, what did he say? I can't let you go, Garp. So Garp knows that if he tries to leave, let's say he jumps the ship, Kuzan will have to go after the ship. And whether Garp can beat him or not, the entire, like Garp said it, the mission is complete. The point of it was to rescue Koby. Why would he risk Koby and all the Marines with an admiral in pursuit in Kuzan's territory? Like the ocean, yeah, maybe Garp is Aquaman too, but like, cause he's gonna have devil fruit, but it's literally Kuzan just freezes everything. So at the end of the day, if Garp left, if he can jump, and I think he could have, that doesn't do anything. Garp recognized several things early on. One, the thing that he said at the beginning of the chapter, right? Like, this is the sacrifice. I'm not valuable. You guys are. You guys just don't see your value. That was the teaching moment in this thing. That's why I didn't take Pizarro on my own. I could have done that. There's no world someone can convince me that Garp couldn't have just done that. Because if Koby can go all out and put everything into that and punch entire Pizarro's arm, you can't tell me Garp going all out, putting his life force into a punch, couldn't just end the island. But what would that do? That wouldn't do anything for the future, right? So that's one thing. If he leaves, Kuzan follows. And if that's the case, why continue fighting? If he continues fighting, then he jeopardizes his life too, right? Like, yes, maybe he can fight Kuzan. Maybe he recognizes how strong Kuzan is. Maybe he can beat the entire island. But the thing is, like, he still cares about Kuzan. What was the first thing he said to Kuzan? In this chapter, he said it's like, it's over, but isn't Garp, like, didn't we see this in Marineford? The qualms he has, Ace made his choice. Garp went to Impel Down, asked him, like, what do I do? Why'd you choose to be a pirate? At Marineford, the same thing, like, Ace, why'd you do this? Ace, why are you doing this? Right? Garp wants Kuzan to be on the right side of the history, right? To find he's his first protege, right? So I don't think Garp would do anything more in this situation because it doesn't do anyone any benefit, especially because Garp is saying like he's saying he's gonna figure something out. I think as far as story wise goes, I don't think it makes sense to think that Garp is dead from this, based on the way Kuzan froze him. Also based on what like Blackbeard would need out of this, right? Because
he's worth Koby way more alive than dead.
Yeah, they kill Koby. What does that do? What trading? Would they kill Garp? What does that do? No, Garp is worth alive, right?
Yeah.
So it's like in that knowledge point, right? Garp knows that Kuzan thinks he's valuable, and it's not worth going after Koby. Garp sees that Koby is more valuable, and this is the middle ground. Garp is like, okay, I got them off. My protege's here. I'm not dead. Everybody wins. This is fine.
Everybody wins. Like I said, this is to Garp, this is a major W.
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
this is a bigger W than anything.
He's
because
smiling and laughing. Like, if this wasn't a W for Garp, he wouldn't be laughing and smiling and crying the entire time. When Garp says you are all the future of the Marines, I extend that as far as to say that he's even talking about Aokiji.
Yeah.
I still think that Garp believes in Kuzan. Maybe, of course, he's like, ah, man, like, I wish he didn't do this, but I feel like Garp deep down knows that Kuzan is just doing what he thinks is right. And let me tell you, the price of justice is a rough one, because Kuzan he's crying. People are saying that he's even freezing up his tears right here, and I can believe it.
Yeah,
it's not easy. It's not easy killing your old mentor, you know?
And, no, yeah, you said it, like the freezing tears, but him meeting Kuzan, I think all of that is true. 100,000%, and that this is beyond a W for Garp. Because at the end of the day, right, he could have believed in Koby, and Koby could have failed.
Imagine that. Imagine Koby goes up, he gets slapped by the hand, and then everybody dies.
Yeah,
like, that'd be oh man, do you think he'd still be laughing in that situation?
No, he would have to do the Shanks Luffy thing where he'd have to sacrifice an arm, sacrifice a leg.
He's like, well, I gotta die now. I gotta wrap this up. I believe in Koby, and maybe he's not the future after all. I gotta do everything now.
Yeah, and like Shanks had to do that because Luffy was a baby, right? So he had to do that in that moment. And it's like, in this situation, Garp is like, you're not a baby. All of you are, like, well, capable of carrying on the future. And I love the way you said that, too. It's like, all of the Marines present are the future, which is really, I think, really, really important because if you look at the dialogue between Garp and Kuzan, it says volumes about their stance in this situation, in my opinion. Where regardless of if Kuzan is a Marine spy or actually with the pirates or himself independent, you understand that, like, there is emotion here. Yeah. And that is, like, how many chapters did we get, honestly, of this? It's like total of 3 chapters encompassing
4 chapters.
Like this. 4 chapters, and the gravity of all of this is insane. These are characters that maybe showed up in panels prior, besides Marineford, right? But Marineford wasn't their focus, right? Garp, sort of, yes, not saying it wasn't. Koby got the thing, but in the grand scheme of things, in 1,000 chapters, to get this gravity that we're getting right now in these characters and what this means and how it feels, it says a lot about 1087, 1088, Egghead in general, what Oda's doing, how much thought Oda's putting into
like Egghead Island is the culmination of everything we've been waiting for. Like, everything that's been built up throughout the entire series is finally at its head, right? We always wanted Blackbeard, we always wanted Garp, Koby, Kuzan. Like, so many things are finally coming out with this arc, and it's beautiful. And with that too, as far as Garp goes, he's frozen right here, right? Mm-hmm. What if the Marines had a spy on this island the entire time? What if Garp being frozen right now is actually going to be undone next chapter by Vasco Shot? Okay, I'm joking. That was a meme. Sorry.
No, I mean,
cutting through the ice. I was cutting through the ice.
But you said you segued into an important question, which I still have, which is like, you know, Oda could have killed Garp in this moment. I think it would have been fine. Would a lot of people have liked it? No. Would have fit well with the story? Fine, right? There's so many characters in the story. I think he would have done a phenomenal job if he just ended it here, right? But now that multiple points, right? He's laughing, he's not fully frozen, the
I'm
emotions. He says he's gonna figure something out. They said that he's missing an act. Not even the narrator box is trying to fake death us, right? Like, that's crazy. Given the history of the narrator box recently, it's like, you're not gonna even try it this time? Like, that's okay. And you know, it goes to far as to like, what is Garp's play, and why is Oda keeping him in the story? Because I feel like Oda didn't give Garp a moment to fully demonstrate his full power. And I'm almost wondering, is it going to be a situation where Garp comes back and he does demonstrate that? Or is Garp here purely for like a narrative reason,
I think he's here going to be for a narrative reason. I think we've seen enough of Garp's power. I don't think anybody can question it anymore. Would we have want to see more? Yes, everybody wants to see more of Garp. I think that's like undeniable. But I do think Garp is going to take like that back seat in terms of like power, and he's just going to be there for that narrative purpose. We're going to see Blackbeard try to bargain with him. We're going to see how the world government feels about him. We might get the God's Valley flashback. Pudding might dive into his memories and, you know, see what's going on down there. We might even get some Garp and Dragon backstory. I feel like Garp has more narrative purpose than anything, and all the fighting is going to be done with the admirals now. I feel like we still need Sengoku, we still need Suru, we still need Akainu, Kizaru. Like, everybody still needs that time in the spotlight. And Garp, in my opinion, I think he got his this chapter. I think it was a really good showing. And the thing, going back to what I said too, like, I'm really happy for Garp because he ended this arc smiling and laughing. Like, everything worked out. Whereas go back to Marineford, he wasn't smiling and laughing. The dude was upset. Like, he just watched Ace die, and I guarantee you, he regrets that to this day. And I see some people giving Garp, like, a lot of slack, saying, oh, Garp went all out of his way for Koby, but he didn't do this for Ace. And it's like, it's very different. Garp didn't know how painful that would be at the time. Like, Garp was doing his duty, and his hands were tied. And then at the very end, like, right when Ace died, he said, okay, you know, F it. Like, I gotta fight Akainu. Like, I gotta kill this dude. But now it's like, and Garp can actually do something with his job in mind, and like, he can save somebody. Like, it's such a good feeling, right?
Yeah, and I just realized like why this chapter, like, if this were the place where Garp left us, it would feel good, because ultimately, and I think I just thought about this like in the call, so I have to really like sit on this a little bit more and like really dissect it. But you know that duty bound thing that we're talking about, like, kind of like, I think what it is like the point about someone in service, like a fireman or a police officer or a military member, you know, the reason why we thank them regardless of us knowing them, the moment they tell us like they're a veteran or something, we thank them because it's a sacrifice, right? Like, they ran into danger on an order on behalf of people that they don't even know, right? And so like that, when you think about it, when you boil it down, like, that sacrifice moment, self-sacrifice is so important. That lesson, like, you know, feels even better that Garp had, where he was the old man that was being sacrificed. He's being sacrificed here. That is the duty that is the, like, the ultimate duty that is that you're bound by, right? Like, you're sacrificing your life. So this is like an honorable thing, and it's like the, you know, was the Purple Heart that you're getting posthumously. I always say that word wrong, but after death. And so the reason why I brought it up is because it's like Akainu, and I'm not saying this about Akainu. I think he would have a similar version of this too. I think all the respectable Marines and Navy would have a moment like this in their own version of a self-sacrifice. But when you look at Marineford, right, like it was like a meaningless sacrifice that Koby was trying to stop. Akainu was meaninglessly sacrificing lives when the thing was already over to a certain extent. And it's like, how do you weigh that life? What do you do there, right? And I was thinking about it, and I know the references through the roof, right? Like, I felt every single one of them when I was reading them, from like Rock Lee, Might Guy, Deku, All Might, Gohan, Goku. Like, there's so many of those like son father references that you get in this chapter. The way Garp feels this unkillable supreme like pinnacle of strength person and their protege living up to it. But given the way Garp is in this story now, and I doubt Oda's gonna go one-to-one with Dragon Ball, like he does so much of Dragon Ball, but like narrative wise, I think sentiment wise he has a lot of those sentiments, right? The action and some of the cool awe-inspiring things. The same reason why people are comparing Gear 5 to Super Saiyan and like, oh my god, it's like that hype is there, right? But I think that when Garp comes back, if Garp comes back in the story, I think that he's gonna go out in an ultimate form of sacrifice. And I personally would have liked it if Naruto and Might Guy did it like that, where he set his life out, but then they kept him in the story because they were like, I'm not gonna say weak minded in terms of wanting to get rid of characters, but like they could have, and I think that would have done well. But considering the scope of what happened later, there were so many other issues. But in this moment, I could see something where Garp, like I'm just making something up right now, where it's like let's say they go planetary for some reason, and like there's an actual mini sun of some sort, like Vegapunk made a sun and it's out of control, and it comes to a point where in order to stop it, even Gear 5 Luffy, or even the strongest person, they would die for it. And Garp would jump in to protect everybody without hesitation. And I think that is what I expect. Whether it happens or not is one thing. Because, yeah, there's the narrative thing. He's here for God Valley. He's here to, sentiment for Kuzan. But I feel like now that Oda kept him, the way Oda has concept arted Garp, he's made Garp every single profession known to man. Like he was Bogard at one point. He was a pirate. He ate the Gomu Gomu. He was in every pilot. Like, so the version of Garp that I think that the importance that he's giving him right now, based off of this, is a sacrificial moment where it's gonna come to a thing where it's like in that moment, I think he's also going to recognize Luffy. Like, Luffy went a different path, right? He went the path of a pirate, but it was something he ended up respecting. In the same light where you said he even means Kuzan in this moment, you all are the future of the Marines. I think it'll come to a point where it's like, what does the Marines stand for? I think the Marines are supposed to stand for self-sacrifice. I think that's what they're supposed to stand for, willing to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. And that's not what's happening right now. That's not what you get out of the Navy. That's not what people on a One Piece island thinks when they see the Navy. On Dressrosa, for example, when the Marines pulled up, everyone was kind of trembling. You know what I mean? They didn't know. But when Fujitora bowed down, that was a shocker. Self-accountability. But then there's also, like, Fujitora said, like, I should have been here. I should have stopped this. I should have done this, right? And I think Garp is going to perpetuate that message one last time, not just to the Marines, maybe to the rest of the world too. Like, this is it, right? Like, it's pirates, whatever. I'm protecting everybody in this moment, and no hesitation, because you all have limitless potential. Yeah, I think
it's something that's very in line with his character. Like, it's not even like, if he were to do that, I don't think it would be that shocking at all.
Yeah,
like, I feel like,
but I think it'd be epic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If I had to put a straw in somewhere, I'd say that maybe Blackbeard does a public execution. Maybe the deal falls through and they go through with it. I think it'd be cool if Garp goes out the same way that Luffy almost did back at Logtown.
Okay.
Like, just a smile on his face, and then maybe Dragon shows up, and that's where we have like a little bit of a callback to that moment. But that's just like a possibility. Like, I don't even think that's gonna happen. Like, I do think that we're going to go through with some kind of trade, but by the end of the story, I don't think Garp's going to make it, though. Actually, here's a good one. Do you think Akainu would fight for Garp? Like, do you think this could cause a war in the future, or no? Do you think because he went against or without orders that the Marines would abandon him?
That's a tough one. I think yes.
They'd have to go save him? It's morale, right?
It's like, yeah, he can't be, he would, if he wasn't Fleet Admiral, maybe not, honestly. But as Fleet Admiral, this is a stain on his thing. I think he's too prideful to let the hero of the Marines die on his watch in this manner to these people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like
it would look bad.
Yeah, I think from that side, but then also the one thing that Akainu has been complaining about the entire time skip is the lack of manpower. And like Garp is like, if you were to define manpower, it's just a picture of Garp. You know what I mean? Like if Google had it like in any picture, it's just like Superman. It's Garp. It's Goku, right? Like that's just, it's like a unit of measurement. One Garp. This is one Garp of power. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't think Akainu would want to let that go either, especially if he thought that he could stop it, right?
Yeah.
You know. Like, if he thought he could solo Blackbeard, I don't see why not.
Here's a better question. What do you think Akainu would do if he wants to rescue Garp for the manpower, for the morale, the reputation? What if Akainu wanted to save Garp, but the Gorosei doesn't? The world government says, no, we don't want to play with Blackbeard. Do you think think this could be where the world government and Navy start splitting apart?
I don't even think it has to be the Blackbeard thing. I think the Gorosei could have been like, finally, we can get rid of the D-Clan. This dude is unkillable.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like the Gorosei wouldn't mind if a D-Clan member went down. So maybe they don't want to go save Garp. And then Akainu's like, hey, like, no, we gotta save him. He's a Marine. He's a hero. Morale. Manpower. Because I feel like eventually, by the end of the series, I do feel like we need to start splitting the world government and Navy apart.
Yeah, and so basically, are you saying, is Garp the reason?
Yeah.
And, hey, it could be. There's a lot of ways, and I think that would hinge on Akainu's backstory heavily.
Yeah.
If Oda could insert a lot into Akainu's backstory, that would make it a moral thing. It could make it a duty thing. It can make it a respect thing. Garp could be an important character in Akainu's life too, right? It could be the opposite of Kuzan, where Akainu looked up to Garp so much in terms of strength, but like never wanted to like he, for some reason, he didn't want to like cross paths with him. He wanted to do it all on his own, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas Kuzan was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to him, right? That could be the split. And you know. Hey, maybe we find out at like Punk Hazard their fight is like maybe they have a mentionable line about Garp, right? Like we both looked up to Garp in the Rocks era, you know, something like that, because you know they would be children at that time. So as far as if Akainu would defect the entire Marines against the world government for Garp,
I wouldn't say necessarily like defect entirely, like maybe just ignore their orders for once.
Okay. Ignore their orders for once. Yes. Yes. Yes, I think in context too. Like I think at this point of the story, it's in a place where the admirals will start getting context of the world government. So like there's so much context that Akainu can get about Wallachia, about what happened with King Cobra at the Reverie, what happened at the Reverie in general, because the world government's hiding a bunch of stuff. So even that, like you tie it in, and maybe Garp knows it, maybe Garp tells him. I don't know. I feel like there is a world where Garp is the keg explosion.
The powder
is
keg,
that the
yeah.
same? The powder keg that ignites the explosion that catalyzes this that decision. Yeah. You know another thing that locks it in for me?
What's up?
What Kuzan said to Blackbeard. Kuzan said that he was joking with Akainu at the very end of their fight. So even as enemies, the man lost a leg to this guy, and he still like was chopping it up about how they were. I still think
they're good friends, despite what went down, and despite Akainu not wanting to know anything about Aokiji, and despite Aokiji, you know, memeing on him at the bar. I actually do believe that they're still decent friends at the end of the day. Yeah, they just had a falling out, but deep down, I bet they respect each other.
Like a falling out is 100%, because like even when you look at Punk Hazard when Kuzan showed back up, he gave Smoker direct advice and a message to Akainu. He said, warn him about this. If he's not prepared for Dressrosa, this could be the most difficult situation in his career. If they were truly enemies and Kuzan did not care, why would he ever say that? No, he cares. like he like at the end of the day, if he cared about Doflamingo messing shit up, then he could have stopped him himself.
Yep,
but he didn't. And yeah, especially now that we know.
Yeah. Hey, believe it or not, Kuzan versus Doflamingo. I'm just gonna go on a limb. Unpopular opinion, hot take. I think Kuzan would beat Doflamingo. No diff.
No diff. I don't even think he needs his devil fruit at that point. Like, it's kind of
he just needs a punch.
Disgusting.
Just punch him.
The fact that he froze Doflamingo, like, what if he just punched him there? It's so easy. And the thing is, like, going back to it, the fact that he said that to Smoker, about Akainu, said all that, and then at the Blackbeard thing, he's saying that at the end of their fight, him and them joked, and they cracked a joke because like they were raised in the same Marines together, right? I think there's a certain amount of camaraderie that comes from being in the Navy that Garp gets from everybody, regardless of their standpoint. Sengoku hates Garp, but he still loves him, right? But then they're brothers at arms, right? But when you really think about it, Garp is like the biggest thorn in Sengoku's side.
It really is.
About it. Yeah, Garp has done nothing but treason in the entire story of One Piece. And Sengoku just had been like, I can't not respect you. You know what I mean? I can't.
That secret agent that Akainu has.
Yeah, and it's like, so I could see Kuzan seeing Garp as a very important figure that he wouldn't want to lose. For sure. And I think that is important too. And then that goes back to the Marine thing, the duty bound thing. There's a certain kind of climate and environment that comes from being brothers and sisters with people that have signed on and sacrificing their life as a service to people that they don't even know, right? That creates a kind of bond that these people next to me, my life is in their hands, and we're putting our lives for the sake of these other people. And that, I would imagine, especially based off this chapter, how Oda's just demonstrating sword, I think he's gonna make the Marines feel really, really real, great. And yeah, I think we're gonna get a lot more favorite characters out of Marines for sure too. That's something I'm excited for.
I can't wait for people to join my team.
I don't think they're joining your team.
They're going to be joining my team. They're gonna start hyping up Yamakaji, Akainu. I swear, I'm gonna see so many people switch up when we get that Akainu backstory, and that shit hits.
Listen,
I can already feel people are gonna start wearing shirts that say Ohara was justified.
We can't even say that Yamakaji knows that Koby's in sword, and it's just this random illusion of Akainu in the background.
Exactly,
of this panel,
he's here.
In this chapter. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, Yamakaji doesn't even have that. Doesn't even know about the sword thing. Oda couldn't draw the bubble right to him.
I see that Akainu person just behind me, just whispering through into my ears, like, "Hey, do this, do that." I was like, "Oh, here we go. Thank you, Akainu."
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Akainu's on one side, and then Green Bull's on the other.
Yeah, but as far as anything I can end on, and I gotta throw out the agenda. All the people that are doubting Bogard and are trying to say like, Par, what happened? Agenda, whatever. That was my agenda's locked in. Everything that happened is exactly what I said from the very beginning.
We're gonna live long enough to where we will see the end of One Piece. If we get to the end of One Piece, it's over, and Bogard doesn't do anything. I will never let you live it down.
Okay, and the issue is you and On Call saying that One Piece will end sooner for you if Bogard comes out and does something.
Exactly. Either way, it's a win-win, Like, if Bogard shows up, you'll never see me again, but if Bogard doesn't show up, then I'll just never let it go.
Wait, you're making me really want Bogard to not show up, because now you're making it sound like you're going to be in my daily life. You're not even in my daily life now, but I know you if Bogard doesn't show up at the end of the series, you will be like Voldemort.
Your
on
next
the back
door
of
neighbor.
My head.
I'm just going to like rent the apartment or house next to you. And then I'm just gonna, put up cardboard cutouts of Bogard all up my front lawn. But like, hey Bogard, look, or like, hey Par, look, he finally showed up. Bogard's here.
Listen,
I'm gonna post a picture of me and Bogard chilling on the couch and be like, yo, look, he's finally here. Look at this, Par.
All I'm saying is that everybody who's disappointed or bandwagoning, they weren't on the original agenda. If you listen to the video, everything I said lines up. Everything I said.
Hey,
and then
that's
even
fair.
in this thing, I explained it to a few
That is
people
fair.
on the same reason why Garp didn't do more is the same reason why Bogard wouldn't do anything. Is the same reason. It's creating the future.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course.
You can't. It's the Rayleigh passing on a generation. If he did everything, then what would we have? We would have.
And
still
Bogard
Bloods
is
that didn't
he's
stop.
holding back for all of us.
Is there a possibility that like the ship that Blackbeard has is like a lot of people are on that, or is it the people who weren't here?
I think it's the
that?
people who weren't here. Yeah.
And do you think that because of the way Oda ended it, he had Blackbeard pirates like just arriving, like off the coast kind of thing? Do you think we're gonna open up with them actively being like we're gonna see their participation, or are they gonna be hidden in the hidden until like he's gonna swoop in?
That's a hard one. Because I do believe that the two characters that are showing up to Egghead are probably going to be Lafitte and Devon.
Okay.
And since they're more of the stealthy members, right? Devon can disguise herself and Lafitte can fly and what he's like. I don't even know what his devil fruit is. It's not revealed yet. But since he's such a
Siren.
sneaky character, yeah, I'm on the either like siren train or like mythological, like a different mythological flying creature, like a harpy, for example. I think that's another solid one. But either way, I feel like it depends on what they're there to do. Like if you were to put Blackbeard, Burgess, Kuzan, San Juan Wolf, right, like Vasco Shot, like those guys would make their presence known. But Devon and Lafitte, I feel like, are such stealthy characters, though we might not see them right off the bat. I would love to. I would love if we get that flare. Like, we go into chapter 1089, boom, Lafitte, Devon, like, defeating Seraphim or something. I think that'd be kind of cool. But we'll see. Who do you think's on the boat, then, in your opinion?
Because, like, what you're saying is Winter's Island, this, and Egghead are all concurrent, right?
Yeah.
Which makes sense. It's just, like, given how Egghead is built up, right? Like, we left Egghead with Blackbeard pirate ship going there, and we came here. And, well, no, first we went to Elbaf, then we went here, right? And then, but this was, like, in the queue 1076, so it was happening in the meantime. No, not 1076. Prior to that, maybe? 1071, maybe? 1070? I forget. And then Hachinosu. Elbaf was also... Elbaf was 1076. That was a Shanks chapter. But what I was saying was, like, it's just... I feel like whatever's happening on Egghead is so important that I kind of want Blackbeard to be here. But if Blackbeard's here, I'd feel like it would make sense if more than just Lafitte and Devon were here. And if that's the case, then I feel like it's too much Blackbeard. And I know there's people's theories that like York allied with Blackbeard. And if that's the case, then would Blackbeard come himself? You know, did Blackbeard get the ponyglyphs from Ba?
Yes. I believe so,
Okay.
right?
I don't recall. I don't recall if they gave it and then they bounced, or they...
Either way, it would be... I think it would be hard for Law to still have them, considering he's, like, swimming through the ocean unconscious.
Well,
And his, like, ship is destroyed.
Crazy.
Yeah, the paper's
crazy.
crazy, but I feel like it makes sense if Blackbeard were to have the ponyglyph rubbings.
Because another way is, like, if he didn't get it, could it be that he... Because his whole point was he was waiting for one of them to come so that he could take stuff from them. If he failed to get it there, then maybe he goes to an adjacent island, which wouldn't be Elbaf. He'd be crazy if he went to Elbaf, which maybe Egghead would be the place, but, you know, or the Marine headquarters that was there. Like, I think G14 or something was nearby. But yeah, like, I think it makes more sense as Lafitte and Devon. I think from the very beginning of Egghead, you and I were thinking like the undercover people would make sense. There's several theories in between about how they would do it, when they would do it, if they were the barrier or whatever. But as far as them being alone at this point, I feel like, I don't know why. I just kind of want like Pudding to be there. I want Blackbeard to be there. But maybe it's too much. Maybe it's not. I'm a little confused. That's why I asked. I want to know where you were at. And I'll be reading the comments, so let me know what you guys think. Because it's like, I feel like it makes sense that Blackbeard would be there. If the Gorosei guy is going to be there, he just said he wanted to be part of the world government. Like, this is a good way to speed run things. The Gorosei is right
Get like an audience with him. Be like, hey,
yeah, like something.
I kind of want to be a king. Can you like hurry that up a little bit?
Yeah, like what if he kills Vegapunk, right? Oh, what if Blackbeard's third fruit is the brain, the Nomi.
The Nomi. That would be a little bit goofy, but hey, I'm not gonna stop Blackbeard. Have whatever devil fruit you want.
He pulls all the because Punk Records is there. He gets the Nomi. He gets Pudding he eats it, then gets Pudding to put all the info into his head. Then he has the full transfer, right? I don't know. I want to know. I mean, even Mori and Perona are weird, loose end, but
yeah, they still haven't been shown throughout all of Hachinosu.
Yeah, but Pudding memories, Vegapunk's fruit being memory based, Kuma doing the memories thing, like with the bubble, like there's that nuance. And then I've talked about Blackbeard and his ties to memories in my last Blackbeard video. And so it's like, I feel like Blackbeard meeting up on Egghead could
I feel like it makes the most sense to me. Like, I feel like if Blackbeard were to come to Egghead, there's so much for him to gain.
Yeah.
Like, between Luffy, the Gorosei, the Ancient Robot, Vegapunk, like, there's so much to get here. But for me, it's just the scuffed timeline of it all that makes me feel like he's not here.
And also, if Blackbeard were here, it'd be one of those developments that's like, oh man, One Piece is ending soon. if Blackbeard also gets thrown in this, it's like, oh damn, we're doing this now?
Yeah.
Shit, that's crazy. Same like if like Garp died, right? Then it'd be like, oh, we're at the end of times. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm on the chapter where we last saw Blackbeard. That was 1081. And
the flashback?
It's not even a flashback. Like, there's no black on the page. It says Winter Island, Blackbeard. The Polar Tang has been destroyed and is currently sinking to the ocean floor. There's no black borders around it, so it does seem like everything is taking place concurrently. It even says, on this day, the Heart Pirates, led by Trafalgar Law, were soundly defeated. So, I mean, I don't think it's Blackbeard that's coming around. Let me see. When did we see the Blackbeard ship? We saw the Blackbeard ship 1079.
1079.
Yeah. So we saw the Blackbeard ship, and then 2 chapters later, we get the victory declared by Blackbeard. So I don't think it can be him. Could he be in tow? Yeah. I feel like there's a chance that maybe there is a second Blackbeard ship, and it's him that ends up showing up at the very last minute. But I feel like the Vanguard is probably just going to be Lafitte and Devon.
Yeah, and then the warp fruit makes everything so much harder.
Yeah, dude, Blackbeard could literally show up. Blackbeard honestly could have just been in this chapter. I'm gonna be real with you. Like, Blackbeard could have just shown up.
Half his dudes can fly. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, honestly, why even can't what's his face? San Juan just walk to everywhere? Like,
yeah, San Juan can walk everywhere. I mean, Aokiji can just walk across the ocean on a bike because he just freezes it. Yeah. Vasco Shot can fly on San Juan. Like, the snot bubbles, they could all just fly on those. Like, they're really good at traveling. They're really good at traveling.
And travel. Wait, that's so crap because
and then the island fruit could probably move.
Yeah, because if you think about it, they just have log ships. That would do kind of well on an ice. On ice, it's like a sled.
Oh, yeah, you just push it, it's done. Huh. Yeah, the Blackbeard Pirates, man, they're fun guys. They can get they get around. They get around.
A normal boat would be ass on an ice ocean, but logs.
What if that? Just
now
roll.
We're cooking. Yeah, just
Blackbeard is onto something. Oh, and and then the Pegasus fruit too, stronger. Oh man,
yeah, mythical zone.
These guys are crazy.
Crazy.
So yeah, really, when you think about the Blackbeard Pirates showing up anywhere, it can happen. Like, maybe we go to the next island, and then we're like, oh, the log pose is leading us this direction. We get there, and they're like, wait, it's pointing this way, but there's an island right here, and then it's freaking Hachinosu moving around. It's like, anything's possible, man. Like, the Blackbeard pirates are just wacky. But speaking of which,
Very
though,
wacky.
we got the Marine showing up at the very end of this chapter. Are you excited for Egghead Island? Are you excited for Kizaru? Are you excited for Saint Saturn? Because honestly, with how crazy these last chapters have been, in a weird way, Egghead Island doesn't excite me as much anymore. That sounds strange. I feel like I just need to like dip my toes back into Luffy and the boys, but as of right now, I'm looking at it, I'm like, we're finally going back, but Garp and Blackbeard and everybody else. I love the outside events, but I am excited for Rob Lucci. I want to see what happens with him, because that's still a mystery.
Like, because all the, like, Shanks, Garp, even Koby now, Kuzan, those are all questions that we had for so long, and we got them answered.
Yeah.
The only, like, real question, but even with the Marines on the way, is just the Saint Saturn. Because we the light fruit broken, light fruit powerful. Even if he shows us something new, it's like, yeah, I mean, cool. Like, I don't think anybody, like, questioned where Kizaru was. But, like, it's a different thing where it's, like, Aokiji is matching Garp with a punch. That's different, right? Now, if Kizaru did that, no devil fruit, and he's just boxing a Garp, that is, wow, insanity, right?
Super insane.
But as far as question marks go, like, the Awakening from Lucci, Seraphims, they're not that many more question marks. We saw what King can do in the anime as well. Like, I don't think there's much that could surprise us.
We know who the traitor is. We kind of know their motivation.
So now the question marks and why we talked about it is Blackbeard showing up? Who's showing up from Blackbeard? That's a question. And then what is this Gorosei guy going to look like? What is he going to do? And I guess the only big question mark that Oda, maybe he knew we would get bored again because he left us with Eggheads like, this will shock the world. And, like, yeah, okay, Oda. Like, yeah, shock us. Ooh, you know what I mean?
Like, whoa, is that Gear 5 Luffy? That's shocking.
Yeah, like, I'm going to eat my words, but, like,
we are. I feel like we are going to eat our words. Like, we're going to get back there, and the first chapter of Egghead's going to blow us out of the water, and we're going to be like, well, we feel ridiculous now. But hey, it's a justified feeling. It's just, we've been away for so long, you forget how good it is. So maybe Egghead slaps. We'll see.
I mean, I'm still excited for it.
I'm excited.
It's just I get what you meant.
Yeah,
I get what you meant.
It's not like Garp's final moments, right?
Yeah, like, I said this when I was
reacting. Up to that.
There hasn't been a scene really in, like, Gear 5, yeah. But, like, Koby doing what he did to Pizarro here was, like it felt like a One Piece shonen, like, combined, like, oh my god, like, it was like an underdog moment. You know, like, early One Piece is, like, underdog, not East Blue, but, like, underdog moments are dope, always, right? But then there came a time when Luffy's no longer the underdog. That's why Fishman Island felt so weird to a lot of people. It's because Luffy just beats everybody. If there was there wasn't a giant ship falling on them and it was underwater. Like, in all circumstances, Luffy just clowns on everyone there. And same thing like Foxy, right? Like, Luffy clowns on them, but then for some reason he listens to the Davy back rules. It's like, oh, cool. And it's. Woo.
Here's a good question to end off this video.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite moment out of Egghead Island this year? Like, not Egghead, like the arc in general. Like, it can be like this chapter, last chapter, the Gorosei. Like, what has been your favorite page?
Oh, that's a tough one because I don't even remember all of them, and I'm gonna feel dumb not remembering them. I mean, obviously, like the Shanks and Garp moment, but I explained it on the stream too. It's like I expected those. Like, even on the call, like, everything that happened made sense. Like, we weren't on the delusional side, surprisingly, on that front. Everything kind of made sense. It was straightforward. It was cool. It was dope. I'm glad we finally got it. It's not the same thing as Koby blasting Pizarro's like 4 thriller bark length arm with Conqueror Haki. It's just not the same. And then so it's like Luffy Gear 5. Yeah, I mean, we got that, but like I've said this, like the Luffy thing hasn't been as exciting as the Kaido thing because it's not the same, right? I mean, I feel like everyone's gonna say recency bias because of the Koby thing, but I think it's the Koby thing because I said it on the stream. Like the feeling that I got with the Koby thing was so good that, like, you know, the lore stuff felt great. Like I got so many, like, you know, theory stuff was fun, so many cool things. Yeah, like there was a lot of fun moments and great chapters and good lore, good story, all that stuff, but I think my favorite thing has to come back to like that innate feeling. This chapter did a lot, I feel like. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else though.
Mine would be nobody's gonna like this one, but my favorite was definitely Luffy versus Lucci.
I mean, that's fair.
I'm just a huge Lucci fanboy, man. When I saw this man awaken, I knew he could do it. I always had faith in him. I never gave up in Lucci.
And I think Lucci did, like Lucci, Lucci felt good to me in all regards, right? Like, there's a few things, but it's not like end of it. But like in and outside of that, it's like, yeah, I guess the Stussy moment was kind of cool. There was something after the Stussy moment, I feel like, but I think the Stussy moment, because that was just like so many dots were connected. I think Egghead was cool because of the detective stuff, but like if I were to sit back, like one thing, yeah, I think Koby. I think the Koby thing was it for me.
Koby is good.
Yeah. It's tied to Garp, one of my favorite characters. Koby is also one of my favorite characters. I've talked so much about Koby, especially recently, but yeah, I think Koby is it. And you know what? I'll say this too, because this the time in between, right? I can say like I think the Vegapunk reveal is really dope for me. I might say that would be second. Like I love Shaka, I love the Void Sentry stuff, but like the raw emotions, I feel like I had so many of them. That's why I'm blanking. But the Koby one, not only was it dope in hindsight, like for the past stuff, current stuff, like jaw dropping for me. But like, look at the conversation we had. Like, I'm looking so much more for the Marines, for the future of One Piece, for the end of Garp. Like now we have an image, a visual, a feeling, a vibe. Like there's so much that happened because of this. So I think I'll lock in the Koby thing confidently right now.
The Koby
surprisingly
thing?
Yeah.
It's not a bad answer.
Yeah, I guess you could, like, the Reverie stuff is there, right?
Yeah.
Like, you could say, like, the Cobra, but we both memed on so much.
What about one page? Like when I say some, like, that's why I said one page.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna regret it because I feel like I can go back and find another one, but I think one page would be this double spread with the Koby. But I feel like I gotta check myself. Is that recency bias or is this that cool?
This is actually as cool as I think it is.
Yeah,
we'll see.
No, but it is. But you know, Egghead was so dope.
Cool. Yeah. Like I admit, like that. I mean, I think the Shanks one tapping kid is another amazing panel or page.
Yeah. I guess you know what another one did for me when Garp was flying with the ship. That was kind of sick for me.
Oh, when he was laughing with his arm on.
Yeah.
His
They were like, "Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Garp." Like that was kind of
coming
sick.
in.
The galaxy impact was kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, it was
okay.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Going with the Koby, I like it. Sticking to the guns, sticking to the honesty impact. But hey, honestly, thank you guys for showing up to this video and staying around to the end. We appreciate it as always. Hopefully you're seeing this on Saturday, and if so, have a happy weekend. If not, then I got lazy and this is coming out a different day. But yeah, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Make sure to check out Par down below. I'm sure you guys already know who he is if you've made it this far. And yeah, if you want to see more Par, check him out on Hassan Abi's stream. Par is a regular over there. He just can't stop watching him. Par
Hey,
the
he
socialist.
can't stop mentioning me. I'm literally on every stream now.